If you're looking to get into a gravel bike, but you don't want to break the bank, I've got some great options for you. Today, we're talking about finding a gravel bike with a through axle for under $1,000. Through axles are a must-have for gravel bikes, especially if you're riding rough trails, doing bike packing, or you just want a more stable ride. What makes the bike stand out for gravel? Well, let's dive into the details. Let's quickly mention the difference between through axles and quick release. Quick release is the traditional system where you can easily remove your wheels with a lever. It's quick, it's convenient, but it doesn't necessarily offer the same stability as a through axle system. I've made a more in-depth video, the difference between quick release and through axle, on whether or not you would want one or the other. To quickly summarize, quick release is the traditional system where you can easily remove the wheel with a lever. It's quick, it's convenient, but doesn't necessarily offer the same stability as a through axle system. Through axles, on the other hand, are more secure. They pass through the wheel hub and frame, offering better wheel alignment, extra stiffness, and superior performance, especially when riding on gravel or rough terrain. For gravel biking, this extra stiffness makes a huge difference in stability and handling, keeping your wheels firmly in place, reducing flex, which helps you with your braking performance. So when you're shopping for a through axle bike online, one of the key numbers to look at to see whether it is through axle or not is the numbers 12 times 100 for the front, or if it's a mountain bike a lot of the times, or a gravel bike, 15 times 100 millimeters for the front, and for the rear, 12 times 142 for gravel bikes and road bikes, and for mountain bikes, it'd be 12 times 148. So when you see those numbers, you know you're dealing with a through axle frame. The quick release frames will be 130 millimeters to 135 in the back, and usually it'll say QR for quick release, or it'll actually say it's quick release. For the most part, I would assume a bike is quick release unless it specifically says those numbers or it says it's through axle. With that being said, let's check out some bikes that are under $1,000 which come with through axle. First bike that I'm going to mention is an awesome value. I've made many videos on this company. This is the Poseidon drop bar or flat bar Redwood, versatile bike designed for gravel riding, single track bike packing adventures. Now, some of the features on this is going to come with a 6061 double heat treated aluminum lifetime warranty frame. The stock tires are 27.5 or 650B through axle, tubeless compatible. They come with 2.35 Kendra Cadre tires. The tire clearance for the 27.5 is up to 2.6. So you're really getting kind of a drop bar mountain bike that also can do some gravel. You can also fit this with 700C wheels, which are done with the one that we got. Now, the drivetrain, micro shift, 10-speed shifter. We've got a 38 crank up front and 11 to 48 in the back. So you've got a nice wide range if you're going up steep hills or you're going up rugged terrain. This is going to be more than enough to get you started. Great for beginners. It's got an external sealed bottom bracket, flat mount mechanical disc brakes, 160 millimeter rotors up front. Now, this also comes with a 31.6 diameter seat post, so it's more of a mountain bike seat post, and it comes in at almost 30 pounds, like 28.6 pounds, but this is going to be a great gravel option, and I think at the time of making this video, the price is like $5.99 for the drop bars and $5.50 for the flat bars, so I think this is a great value. Now, they have updated their braking. Even though it has mechanical braking, they have updated it to use compressionless housing, which in my experience on the Poseidon Triton has dramatically improved the performance of their mechanical brakes. The one that I got, I switched it out for Shimano MT200 hydraulic brakes, which I've happened to really enjoy, and I think it's a great budget upgrade, especially if you can find a nice set of them on AliExpress. But for the price of getting yourself into a gravel bike, I think that's a phenomenal deal. And like I said, with the lifetime warranty, it seems like $1,000 is a lot for a bike, especially if you're new to cycling or you're new to trying to get a serious bike. But these bikes, my last aluminum bike was a 1990s Cannondale T400, which I rode for over 15 years. And even at the time when I sold it, there was nothing wrong with the frame. These bikes will last you a long time. Now, the next bike I'm going to mention is the 2024 GT Grade Sport. It's a versatile gravel bike designed for both off-road and adventure commuting, urban commuting. Here are some of the specifications. As of now, GT have said that they are not making any new bikes right now, and I think they are selling off all the old inventory, so the sizes might be limited, and this is something where this video, by the time you watch this video, they might all be gone. But this is a phenomenal deal, and if you're looking to get into a bike right now, it's coming to the springtime. They also have the Microshift Advent X with a clutch, 10 speed. The crank set up front is a 40 tooth with the cassette 1148, very similar to the drivetrain of the Poseidon Redwood. 160 millimeters front and rear disc brakes, mechanical disc brakes, ProMax DSK 330 as far as the brake calipers. So this is also going to be a tubeless ready rims that come with it, and it comes with WT Riddler tires that are 700 by 37 millimeters. So this is, again, another drop bar option. This is going to come with a 27.2 seat post. So this is more in lines with the average gravel bike or a road bike. So again, just another great option. But again, this is something that while supplies last, because I think they're selling off all their old inventory, so this is a phenomenal deal. The GT bike that we just mentioned came from the website Bikes Online. The next bike also comes from the same website. This is going to be the Polygon Path X4 gravel bike. Now, this is a gravel bike with a very slack geometry like you would expect from a gravel bike, but this comes with a 2x drivetrain. So this is the first one we've talked about with a 2x drivetrain so far. It comes with the Shimano Tiagra RD 4700 10 speed 2x10 speed. The crank set up front is a 48 by 32 with a cassette at the back, which is 1134. So this will give you pretty much close to a 1-to-1 ratio as far as on the low gear, which for a beginner will be pretty decent. It might not give you as low a gearing as the first two bikes, but still decent enough. And if you're more used to a road bike and you like the 2x drivetrains with the smaller increments, smaller jumps between gear changes, this might be something that is closer to what you're looking for. Again, this combines the, gravel with some of the road sensibilities because of that drive set. You're getting 700 by 35 C tires, so those are also tubeless ready. And again, like I mentioned, most of these gravel bikes that we mentioned, I think all of them are going to be tubeless compatible right out the gate. So if that's something that you want to start taking them off-road right off the bat, you can do that. Or if you just kind of want to use it more as a getting around town with some interludes off-road, if you got the tube set up, you wouldn't want to go off-road for too long, but you can go a little bit off some dirt paths just to make some shortcuts through the city. The next bike has been around for a little bit in the gravel section, and it's coming out with an all-new version, the 2025 State Bicycle Company. The 4130 Allroad is a versatile gravel bike designed, again, for both road and off-road adventures. This is a steel frame 4130. It has a carbon fork. This one comes with a 12-speed derailleur compatible with SRAM's universal derailleur hanger, the UHD. Gearing is a little bit more aggressive, the 42 chain ring up front, and I believe the cassette at the back is an 11 to 44 or 11 to 42. Real nice upgrade with the brakes. You got a hydraulic brake system. This bike is compatible with either 700C or 650B wheel tires, compatible with the 45 millimeters 700C, or if you're doing a 650B, you could get up to 2.2 wide tires, so that's going to be able to handle a nice little bit of chunk. Or you can put on some skinnier tires if you were going more on the road, but this will get you a lot of bang for your buck in terms of being able to be pretty versatile on the road and on the pavement. Now this comes in around $999, so it's right at the $1,000 mark, so that's something to consider. But with State Bicycles, they have been making these bikes for a while, so they're pretty solid. They've got pretty decent customer base with a lot of reviews and a lot of information as far as YouTube videos online. I think what's new for them now is that universal derailleur hanger. So this is a good option to look into. Now, if we're talking about gravel bikes under $1,000, I definitely want to mention a bike that I've been riding. I've made a review on this bike. I think it's an amazing bike. And this is the Poseidon Triton. So we've got two Poseidons on this list. Even though the Poseidon X is also a great value bike, it doesn't come stock with a through axle unless you convert it, or unless you buy the frame, just the frame itself. The frame itself is a great deal at $299, but ultimately that's not necessarily a through axle bike, and you would have to make upgrades that would put it over $1,000. With the Poseidon Triton, it's straight up through axle. It comes with 32 millimeter tires. It comes with a 2x10 Microshift sword. The gearing is incredible in terms of you get a 48 32, or I think it's a 50-34 up front. You get a 50-34 crank up front with an 11-38 cassette in the back. So in terms of climbing for hills, it's going to be amazing. Now this bike, from personal experience, this is a zippier bike, really, really nice handling, some of the best handling of any of the bikes that I have, one of the faster bikes that I have. Great uphill, great downhill. With Poseidon, they've upgraded their brakes with compressionless housing, which, like I said, mentioned earlier in the video, has really, really helped with the braking to the point where I really don't have an issue with the braking. I live in a very hilly area, and going downhill is where your brakes are really put to the test, and I have not noticed any nervousness or twitchiness or fear going down hills. And it's an amazing climber too. So of all the bikes that I've mentioned, this is the one of the bikes that really sits in between the road bike. I would categorize this as an all-road bike that can do some gravel, more of a road bike that can do some gravel. It is capable of handling a 40mm tire up front, 37mm in the back, so you could probably go 38 on both the front and back and still be fine, get you through the city. An amazing offer. Again, right at that $1,000 mark. You would probably be pleasantly surprised by the performance of this bike. So the new kid on the block that has just been released within the last year, I believe this company is out of Portland. This is the Primos Dame bike. So I've heard a lot of good things about this bike. I've seen some YouTube videos on this. Path Less Pedaled has a more in-depth review. Also, Bike Sauce has a nice review on this one. This is another one that comes in at the 4130 Chromoly double-butted steel bike, steel frame. We have that one. We have the state bike. I believe all the other bikes that I mentioned are aluminum bikes. Now, the drivetrain on this is a 1x10 microshift sword. So up front, you're going to get a 44 tooth chainring, which is, I think, the biggest of all the ones I've talked about so far, with an 1146 cassette in the back. So I would say that the gear ratios on that one are a little bit more aggressive. That's pretty high geared, but because you have that big 11-46 at the back, you could probably go ahead and put a smaller chainring up front eventually if you wanted to upgrade. That's a simple upgrade to make. Is you just put a different chainring on those cranksets to go ahead and give you more gearing. You'll lose a little bit of the top end speed, but if you're doing this more of an aggressive gravel and you have a lot of uphills, then you would probably want to make that change. But if you're in a city that's a little bit more flat, then it probably wouldn't matter so much. So that's a pretty aggressive bike in terms of speed wise for a gravel bike, and that's pretty aggressive gearing, but you could definitely make that work. So these are some of the nice options that you have if you want to get into the gravel game for under $1,000. This one comes in at about $800. So some of these are steel bikes, some of these are aluminum bikes. That's pretty much what you're going to be looking at. For bikes under $1,000 that also have through axle, it's pretty rare that you would get hydraulic brakes with it, although the state bicycle has given you an option that has hydraulic brakes. For the most part, you're looking to get mechanical disc brakes that are not hydraulic. That being said, my experience with mechanical brakes, non-hydraulic mechanical brakes, is that the compressionless housing has done wonders on the Triton. I think the older school setup of those brakes on some of the older Poseidons, you know, when I got my Poseidon Redwood and my Poseidon X, the earlier versions, I would say that their braking systems were not great. But the updated version, not great in the way that I wanted to upgrade those brakes, but I would say the Triton that I've been riding, I've had no problems with those brakes. And you know, a lot of people swear by mechanical brakes because they're easier to fix in the field or if you're going on long adventures. So far, I would say the hydraulic brakes have been very reliable, but ultimately that's something you'll have to decide as you're making your decision. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or you have any questions, get in the comment section, give your opinion. If you tried any of these bikes before, if you have any experience, this channel is all about helping other people make these decisions. So if there's some personal experience that you have that you think that would help any of the other viewers of this show, go ahead and leave those in the comment section. You know how I feel about that. I love that. So we'll talk to you soon, my lovers. Thank you for watching. Also, one thing that I'd like to add, that if you are looking for a bike that's under $1,000, a great thing to do is always on all of these sites, look at the deals, look at the clearance section. I think all of my bikes I've gotten on some sort of clearance. You know, usually when you're buying bikes in the springtime or the summertime, you're not going to get as many deals as you are as in the dead of winter when they're not moving as many bikes. So that's also another thing to consider if you know you're going to start riding in the spring, looking ahead and saying, hey, maybe in the winter I'll look to see if there's any deals. But it's always a good idea to just go look at the clearance section of any bike company that you're looking at, and maybe you'll find something. A lot of the times the really, really small bikes and the super extra large bikes tend to sell later than the ones that are medium and large. Those tend to go first. So if you have those sizes and you are looking for bikes in those sizes, a lot of the time you can also find a deal. So again, like I said, get in the comment section if you have any questions or if you want any advice or you're looking to give advice for other people, and we'll talk to you soon, my love.